Hi Tubies, here's Alexander again, and welcome to yet another painting tutorial of me. Today we will have a look at a Chaos Warrior, and as you can see I have him still in separate parts. Well, actually I have separated him because I bought him like this, and yeah, I disattached him. But that shouldn't concern you. The reason for this is quite simple. When he is attached together, he's quite hard to prime, especially here in the back cloak area. So I will prime him now in black in this separate parts. Also the back side of the shield would be quite hard to prime. And so I will do this now, this way, and then it is much easier to paint him. Also in this disattached version I can paint the cloak in the prime color I want it to, and then attach it to the backside, so that you don't have a black backside, actually the color you want to have it. So, like usual, I'll be back when this is done. Okie dokie, the little fella is primed, and now I already can hear the question, why do you have primed in black, and not grey, and not white, and not in a red color, or whatever? Well, simply because. Because he will be painted in metal, and to paint something in metal, black primer is the best way to go. So, yeah, in this tutorial I will show you the simplest Chaos Warrior you can paint. Like I said before, I will paint him in metal colors. This is the most versatile version of a Chaos Warrior. In the last version I have shown you a Zinj Chaos Warrior in bright blue colors. And this time this will be, you can say in Chaos Undivided version, we will paint himself in metal and the cloak in red. So, and we will start right away with the cloak. Like I said before, we will start to paint the backside. So let's pick a good color for that. And for the back part, we will use Vallejo model color Burnt Cat Ready. So, take a little bit of that on the palette. Give it a bit of shake. There we go. So, and with that, we will quickly paint the backside. So it doesn't need to be perfect. Just to give the backside here a red color that we otherwise couldn't reach with a brush when the model is assembled. So, yeah. And that's it already. So, clean up the brush. While this is drying, I will start painting now here the armor. And for that I will use my own dark steel metal version. Here you can see this is my own mix. I used metal color and black for that. Mix it a little bit better. So, there we go. So adjust the amount of paint on your brush on a paper towel. We don't want to have too much on there, but not too less either. And then we simply wet brush the armor. Wet brushing is quite like dry brushing. You simply go over the armor pieces, not really detailed painting them, but other than dry brushing, this will leave a much smoother finish. When you really dry brush something, then it gets those dusty look, you know. So and as you can see, it's quite simple and easy to achieve that look. Also here we can paint now the back side of his legs that we otherwise couldn't reach. So now let's quickly do that also here at the cloak parts. Here, for example, you see, I'm just simply painting now the areas that are obscured by the model itself. So that's it. Also at this stage I could simply paint the helmet. So, and there's a brush I'm using here. This is simply a base coat brush or a size 2 brush that is not entirely good anymore, because here we are doing quite brutal work to the brush. If you do this with a fancy brush for you, you will pretty much destroy him. So, okay, now let's grab quickly the shield. Also, simply painting the back side. And after this is done, we let that quickly dry, and then I will reattach the miniature together. And this will probably take some time to dry, so I'll be back in about 2 hours maybe. So for you, this is just a blink of an eye. Be right back. Okie dokie, the glue is dry now, and this is the time where we can actually start painting the miniature. So we will start with the boots, and for that I will simply use a brown tone, in this case Mornfang brown. Also quite simple, just take a little bit color on the palette and paint the boots. Also at this stage we are simply blocking out the colors, and so it is not 100% important that the colors are 100% covering, so don't make a big deal out of it and simply paint. So, and by the way, for a better holding capability, we will attach it to our usual painter holder. As you can see, quite simple, old paint pot with a little bit of poster tag on top. I use for that Uhu Patafix, but you can use any blue tag or poster tag you can find. Just stick it on and you're good to go. So, also I will paint here the gloves, the horns and the palette in this color. And I'll be back when this is done and dry. So, there we go, the brown parts are done. Now it's time to block out the rest of the colors. Again, I will finish up the silver paint job at the armor and the shield. And also I will paint the back side of the cloak now. And then it is time for a wash. But first things first, let's take again my dark steel mix. It's a very dark silver color. And if there are colors that no paint producer like GW or Vallejo or Reaper, how they are called, produce, then simply pre-mix them in an empty paint pot. It's not that hard. Especially if you want to paint several miniatures in the same color that you have mixed, that's the way to go. I often get the question, how do I remix a color, a certain color again? Just mix them once and you're good to go. So, yeah, that was not enough color, but that should do the trick now. So, and often I also get the question, why do I stop the painting video so often? Well, it's quite easy to motivate me with painting. I need music in the background, and the best way to do this is play loud music while I'm painting. But YouTube doesn't allow me to put copyrighted music in the background. Otherwise, my videos might be shut down, and in the worst case, my whole YouTube channel will be closed by YouTube, and that, my friends, is something you don't want to happen, don't you? So, and sometimes I get the questions, why do I just don't simply put royalty-free music in the background and make an voice over? Wouldn't that be more professional? Yes, more professional, yes, but often very interesting facts about painting I remember while I'm painting, and I can directly tell you guys that. And would I do this with an overlayer, then you wouldn't get that information. Quite simple, isn't it? So, we are nearly blocked out with all the colors. Now we take again the Burnt Cat Ready from Vallejo Model Color. And yes, I have refilled the Vallejo colors into different paint pots. I have made a video about that. And the reason for that is quite simple. I don't like the dropper bottles. But that doesn't mean you have to do that also. If you like the dropper bottles more, then go for it. It's just a matter of personal taste. So, I will paint the rest of the red and let that dry. Be right back. Okay, chewies, now that we have all the colors nicely blocked out and everything is dry, we will give this little fella a little bit more life and three-dimensionality. And for that case, we will shade him with Norn Oil, just a black wash. So, like usual, just take your old big brush and give it a good blob of it. all over the miniature. So, especially here behind the cloak. Because this is the real dark area. Don't be shy in using the wash. We want really nice shadow areas. With that we have instantly nice shadows around the miniature. But in order to leave the shadows at the spot where they are, well, wash is quite thin, and if you place the miniature right there, up there you see it, the wash will run down and pool at the lower parts, and that is not what we want. So in that case you have to lay him relatively flat down, so the wash will stay where it should stay. Okay, let's leave him like that. Here the other side of the sword is still not washed. Okay. Now also the shield. Especially around the Chaos Star. So quickly turn it around. And there we go. So this needs to dry now completely. This will take between 1 and 2 hours. If you don't have anything to speed up the process, for example a hot lamp or a hairdryer or something along that line. So in my case I simply move down my lamp like this and leave him to dry. So just like that, and I'll be back when he's dry. So, as you can see, the wash is dry now, and we have nice shadows, and it's time to go on with the paint job. We will start with the cloak, highlighting it, and for that we will now use Corn Red from Games Workshop. Simply put a little bit on the palette, and with that we will start painting now, and we leave the dark areas with a wash and paint mainly the upper areas. So just like that. Always keep the painting motion in one direction. So add a tiny little drop of water into the paint to make it flow better. Yeah, that's okay. That is okay. So remember, color will always dry darker than it looks like when it is wet. Here you can see the difference. So, okay, that was the first layer. Now we will use Mephiston red as our second layer. Better shake. There we go. So again, going over the red and leaving a little bit of the old color behind, so we get a nice color transition. Also, I will add a tiny bit of water to the color for a better flow. So, mainly the more raised areas will be painted. And that way we get a nice color transition between the darker reds and the brighter reds. Okay, and now for the last highlights, we use Evil Sun's Scarlet. So, like that, here and there. We could go all the way to orange or pink if you like, if you would like to have more extreme highlights, but I found this is the nicest way. Also, you could possibly paint all the cloaks in with a wet blending. That way the color transitions would be much more smooth, but let's face it, this is a regiment model, and you will paint several of those, and you don't want to put in 20 hours into one miniature of a 30-man unit. I don't think so. You can spare the time for your character models. So, sorry for my voice this time. I'm a little bit, I have a little bit of a cold, so be sorry with me. So, okay, now we will start to highlight the metal parts of the armor. And for that we have our three colors here. This here is my darkened down version of this here, of Ironbreaker, but you could also use the the bolt gun metal version if you have one. So we will start with a darker version here, this one. I don't know how the this is Runefang Steel, Ironbreaker. Sorry, I missed the name of the third one. The nowadays bolt gun metal. So I'll start now with applying this color to the main parts of the armor, and also I leave the darker colors behind in the recesses, so that we get also a nice color transition. Even at metal parts we can highlight. So just like that. Upper part of the helmet. Slightly go over the chainmail here, the loincloth. Okie dokie. Same for the shield. So I paint from the middle point of the star to the outside. Okay, here I highlight only the edge, because that is the part that sticks out a little bit, and the rest will be in the shadow when it is attached at the warrior, like this. So now we highlight even more. This time we use a 50-50 mix of Iron Breaker and Rune Fang Steel. This needs a better shake. There we go. Okay, Iron Breaker is the old chainmail, and Rune Fang Steel is the old mithril silver. More shake. There we go. So 50-50 bright metal mix. And yep. Now we highlight even more. Only at the most exposed areas. Like here, the sword blade, for example. Then the top of the helmet. Also the lower part of the helmet. Like that. Okay, now also the same here at the shield. And there we go. Okay, and now for final highlights, we use pure Rune Fang Steel or mithril silver if you have it. For the most exposed edges, just some tiny little dots here and there to make the brightest highlights. Like the top here of the blade, front of the knee pad, stuff like that. Also here, the furthest edges of the shield. A little bit at the top. And there we go. Okay. I think for the leather parts here, the boots and the gloves, that's totally okay to leave it like that. You could possibly highlight that, same stuff like painting here the red for the robe or the cloak, just with different brown tones. Just pick a triad of brown colors and you can highlight it the same way. So now we will simply paint the fur. For that I will use now here Vallejo Extra Opaque Heavy Skin Tone. This is our first color. Adjust the amount of paint on a paper and then we go slightly over it. You need to be careful to don't touch the red parts. So slightly going over it, barely touching. Okay, that's done. Now we will use Screaming Skull or Bleach Bone if you have, and highlight it even more. Make a 50-50 mix with a heavy skin tone. Also adjust it on a paper towel a little bit and going over the fur again, or fur. Also make sure that a little bit of the old colors stay behind, so don't overdo it. We want it to be more or less three-dimensional. Okie dokie. That is now also done. And now for the last highlight, we use Pale Sand from Vallejo Watercolor. Same procedure. Just simply paint it on here and there to make some nice highlights. Okay, there we go. And the Chaos Warrior is almost done. You could, if you want, leave the horns like that, but I prefer to paint them. So I will start highlighting them with Besticor Flash. Same procedure like the fur. Slightly brushing over them. Just like that. That was too much. So, while it is wet, you can fix stuff like that when you are quick enough. Yeah, with a wet brush, going over them. Okay, now again, picking up the color, adjusting the amount on the brush itself, and slightly going over it, and damn it. What the heck, doesn't matter. So, now I highlight this with Pale Sand, like a 50-50 mix. parts of the horn. And now I use pure pale sand. Like that. There I've made a little painting mistake, but we have still metal color wet on the palette, so simply paint over it. And cover that up. Just like that. Ta-da! So, now it's time to attach the shield and leave him to dry for the final touches. So, as a glue, for plastic miniatures I prefer always the Revell Contactor Professional, because it has a nice needle at the front, like that, and with that you can be very accurate in applying the glue to the miniature, just like that. So, leave that to dry now, and I'll be back in a second. So, while the shield is still in a drying process, it is now a good time to sand the miniature. So I will detach him from my miniature holder. Okay, there we go. Use a little bit white glue. In German it's called Leim. So simply paint the base in the white glue. Quite easy to do. Just like that. Wash your brush properly, and then you take some sand and go through your sandbox with your miniature. The sand I'm using is a mixture out of playground sand, birdcage sand, and some bigger grain sand I found in a store. These are these little brown pieces here and there. So close that up. Oops, sorry. So the miniature is sanded now. Now we'll give it also a wash while it is drying. So we will take where have I it? Oh, there it is. Argos Earthshade. This is a brown wash, quite similar to the old chestnut ink. Dark brown wash, and slightly going over the sand. You notice the bigger pieces of the sand will still move a little bit, but that's not kind of a big deal. Just be careful, don't press too hard, and you're good to go. So, and while we have already the wash right here, we can give also the horns and the fur a slight wash of Argos Earthshade, and re-darken the parts of the horn that we have previously overpainted accidentally. So, and this brown wash will now give the fur a little bit more detail, and we'll remove a little bit of the dry brushed look, this sandy look to it. So okay. Now we can reattach the miniature to our miniature holder, like that. And now to the final part, we will paint the Chaos Star symbol. And for that we will use as a ground color this here, Hasut Copper. It's a better shake. There we go. Put a little bit on the palette, and then we'll carefully paint this little star. I will use that color instead of gold for the first layer, because gold has a tendency to not cover very well. Normally I would use tin bits for this, but tin bits is now out of production, and so I need a different way. Also you could use brown tones for that. But this color here does the job also. So we are almost done with it. Okay. Also I can use that now here at the sword, the little decoration parts here. Like that, and here down there. Okay, so now we will take gold, Auric Armor Gold, give it also a good shake. There we go. A little bit on the palette again. Adjust the amount of paint on the brush. Don't overload your brush. And then simply paint over it. That's not good. I need a little bit more. There we go. Okay, you might notice I'm only painting 2/3 of the arrows. That is intentional. So, and now the only things left to do is to dry brush the base when it is dry, and paint the base corner. I will dry brush the base in heavy skin tone, followed by sand yellow, and I will paint the base corner in Mornfang brown, and I'll be back when this is done. Okay, tubies, there we go. Here we have the finished miniature now. in all its glory. Yes, I know it's not totally perfectly painted, but this is just tabletop standard. And like I said before, this is the most easy way to paint a Chaos Warrior. But now to give him a little bit more of a menacing look, we will go for some blood. If you want to approach blood, most people make the big mistake to simply use blood red, because there's blood in the word. It must be the red that blood is, and stipple it on, but that's not the way blood looks. In order to do this, you need this here. Freak Flex Transparent Paint Moron Tint. Don't use the red tint. The red tint is actually a magenta color. This here is the real red. So give it a good shake. And this will make perfect blood. So you see now, nice bloody color here. And we will use that to produce now blood on the miniature. So let's say we start at the blade here, like he had chopped somebody the head off. So make some blood stains here and there. And you see this color is still a little bit bright and doesn't look 100% like blood, but we will go through that really quick. So we'll start with adding some blood here, maybe on the shield where some splatters have hit the shield. Make them a little star motion maybe here from the side, then maybe some splits here on the helmet and the armor. Here and there a few dots, like that. So, but this does not look like blood, don't it? Yeah. For that purpose, we use some wash, non-oil, and we will darken that color like that. And now we will make some additional dots. Make it even darker. Like that. So, and now we use actual black. Mix it also a little bit with the color, just a tiny bit. And then make some bigger pools, because pooled blood looks actually almost black, like that. So some streaks here and there. Oops. So, and there we go. There we have now our finished, really gory, bloody Chaos Warrior. I hope you liked this little tutorial, and we will see us, like usual, in the next video. Alexandra.